everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you, from wherever you are welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. I will speak on, in general, certain words that plague our intelligence. Number one, enlightenment. Number two, why there are so many religions and the Hindu concept of so many gods. First of all, enlightenment, it is a term, a word, not a concept. It was introduced by Gautam Buddha. Before that, it was not there. This does not exist in Islam or Christianity. Hindus talk about Brahmagyani, means who are the knower of Brahma, but they do not have the concept of enlightenment that Buddha spoke. It is said God is one. He created the entire creation. Christianity says, the Islam says, when God created man in his image, he put the ruh, but because of the darkness it came out, and then he took some light from the forehead of Holy Prophet, and then soul could stay there. When everything is created by God, all the sentient and insentient, then why there is disharmony so much among the people, among the religions? So Buddha, the enlightenment means you realize that we are not aliens. We are bound to each other by a causeless force. If all the trees are cut off, there is trees absorb carbon dioxide, creates a balance in the atmosphere about the environment or oxygen level. The plants, the rivers, if all the trees are cut off, then whatever rain falls, it will create havoc. So everything, we are not independent. We are interdependent on one another. We are dependent on the outer environment and inner environment. We give importance to man, but not to other creatures, sentient or insentient. So when an individual experiences oneness with the existence, with all that is sentient and insentient, he feels the same current that is flowing in me. It flows in the tree, in the plants, in the rivers, animals, everything that you see around. Yes, indeed, everyone is at different levels of evolution. Different students enter into the university campus. They are at different levels. They are specializing in different disciplines. That is a different matter. But all of them, at some is first year in the university, second year, third year, so on and so forth. Some who has completed, they come out of that. Others continue in research and other things. So everybody that who enters the university is known as the university, is a part of that university. So enlightenment means you have experienced this oneness, not that one who is in the physics department is better than that which is in chemistry department or engineering or medical. Each department has its own role to perform in life and creating a balance. If there are more engineers and less doctors, there will be imbalance. So enlightenment, the first thing is you understand this, that there is oneness. Everything is pulsating with the same light. So it happens, first of all, the person laughs at his own folly, that up to now I had been considering that man is superior to animals. Is the first year student is superior than the second year student? Is not. They are at different levels of education. They carry the same ID card issued by the university. So every seed is a flower, but you cannot see the flower in a seed. To you, seed is seed and flower is flower and fruit is fruit. But there is at different levels of growth. Seed is the basic. Seed, when it is planted properly, it goes through the process of evolution. It sprouts. You know the entire process of the evolution of the seed. Same is the situation with everyone. There is no difference between you and me. You breathe the same air, you get the same sunlight, you get the same, for you the day and night are not different. But according to your psychology, it may be different. When you are happy, it may be different. So first experience that comes in the moment one experiences enlightenment, that it surrounds, this oneness surrounds, he laughs at his own folly. Then he may cry, why was I ignorant all these years? Why was I ignorant all these years and I did not recognize that every student, irrespective of their identities, national or religious of any other kind, gender, carries the same spark. A tall student can become an expert doctor. A short one can become a fat or thin. There is no criteria that only the short or only the fat or only the tall or only people of this nationality. will become doctor or engineer. So there a cry comes in. Thereafter, when the two balances, he becomes calm. Calm, and calmly he begins to experience everything, where he faltered, what he has to understand. Then he becomes, firstly there comes a harmony, oneness. Then he has to live with this harmony, irrespective of your nationality, identities, any kind of identity. Hindu's identity is a Hindu identity belonging to this particular caste or nation. So is the identity of a Muslim or a Christian. When the Hindus talk about Sanatani, talk about 16 sanskar, means impressions that are created, the way, the rituals or whatever you call, are performed in life, 16, from fertilization to death. So when it is the beginning of the education system, the first thing is asked, the teacher asks, you are taking the vow to enter into life of a recluse to complete your education. So you are a sannyasi. So whose sannyasi you are, they have to leave their family, they have to leave their homes, live on the alms, the bare necessities. So the teacher asks whose sannyasi you are, the student, the child says, I am your sannyasi. So first, this is the identification. You are a cosmic sannyasi. You do not belong to anything else. Tum Brahma ke sannyasi ho. Brahma means the ever-expanding consciousness, the creator. You are that inculcates the cosmic identity. So after enlightenment, the person's identity becomes cosmic. It is a different matter, the language that he speaks, what he is familiar with. I am born in India, so Hindi is my first language. But the field where I am working, there English is the easily accessible language. So I have to use English as a language. Whenever it need arises, I will use Hindi and maybe some other words of the other languages like Urdu, Arabic and Persian. Other languages I do not know. But that does not define me. The cosmic identity remains. After enlightenment, you belong to the cosmos. You are neither Hindu nor Muslim nor Christian. You are equally aware of all these religions, religiosity. You have to work within. I am not asking you, an enlightened one does not ask you to change your religion, change your understanding, be a cosmic. And in that, your growth is not dependent on any of these criteria. No plant, if a plant is growing in a Christian house or a Hindu house or a Muslim house, the plant has its own religiosity. Its religiosity is to grow, to evolve, to attain to fruition. From the seed, it has to become the fruits. The Son has no religion. Jesus says, I am the saltishness, the quality in the salt. Water has the quality, so religion is the quality of your being. The quality is to manifest that which is the oneness all around. Oneness. Every religion speaks of oneness. So then afterwards, he has to live with that harmony, with that understanding, as long as the life is. So it is afterwards, when you enter into the university, your process is beginning. When you are ready to obtain, graduate from the medical school, you have to go through an oath. The oath is that for you, you have to take care of the patient. So the relationship between the patient and the doctor is of a very sacred nature, to bring health to the patient, because patient has put his trust into you, and you have to live up to that and try to bring the health to that person. So the role of the master is, the enlightened one, is an understanding, is a trust. The seeker comes to you. The moment a disciple is ready, master appears. This is the Sufi way. So it is his responsibility to take care of the various aspects of the seeker, because the life is not physical, is not mental, is not psychological. It is the combination of the three. So at physical level, psychological level, the mental level, at every level he has to give explanation to the problems or whatsoever it is faced, how to live with the neighbor. The scripture Ramcharitmanas shows, Ramayana. In that, I'll just take one anecdote. The Ram incarnated. It was the time for him to get the kingdom, but it happened on the night. The next morning he was to be coronated, but the night before, the second queen asked for the exile of Ram for 14 years and kingdom to his own son. So Ram's younger brother tells Ram that this bow and arrow is not a mere ornament. If you instruct me, I will destroy the king who has given you the orders for exile, or the mother, or anyone else. Ram says, tell me, who should I be against my mother, when in the middle of the night I used to be afraid, and I will tell my mother Kaushalya that I want to go to the next mother. She will take me to her and she will lovingly take care of me. The father who took care of me in all the situations, I am the eyeball of him. Should I kill him or the mother? What kind of understanding is this? Or the brother, if I say to him to stand on one feet, he will not abstain. When it happened, the gods, they were going the Bharat came to know that Ram has been exiled by his mother in exchange for kingdom for him, he got angry with her. He stopped talking to her. She was lamenting, and then Bharat collected all the people, the entire retinue, and went to convince Ram to return to the kingdom. Ram could easily return. Ram says, Bharat. Then, when he was going, the goddess of wisdom, so all the gods and goddesses gathered, and they said that just as you changed the wisdom of the second queen and her servant, I want you to change the wisdom of Bharat. So goddess of learning says, I can change anyone, but I cannot do anything to Bharat. His dedication to his elder brother is so much. So when Lakshman, the younger brother, hears that Bharat is coming, Ram tells him all that. Lakshman tells him that I will go and stop Bharat coming and doing this and that and so. So Ram says, I know my brother Bharat. He will never do anything like this. He has not come to remove me from the path. Instead, he has come for first wait and watch his intentions before doing anything. So Bharat tries to convince Ram. So first of all, the woman who has given the exile under the influence of the goddess of learning, she is feeling guilty. It is the duty of the enlightened one to remove the guilt from the mind of the person first. If there is a guilt, the process of transformation will not continue. So Ram says, Bharat, you should not disrespect your mother. She is one in thousands, a unique person. And if you were there, because this woman has put you into exile, you will not talk to her. The three mothers were there, all the others. First he went and he bowed down to that mother on whose words the king gave Ram the exile for 14 years. Is it not a great lesson for us? How you should interact with a person who is having a guilt feeling in her or him? First, that guilt feeling is to be removed if you want to bring the transformation in that person. So he praises and he bows down to her first. Then when Bharat is convincing him, Ram says, should I defy the orders of the father? And after giving the instructions for exile for me, he could not bear the agony of separation from me, and he died. He left the body. The sacrifice that he did, should I overlook that sacrifice? Should I overlook that sacrifice? Bharat is not convinced. Bharat could not convince Ram. Then he says, at least give me something. Give me something. So Bharat gives his shoes, the wooden shoes, and Bharat kept it on the throne and took care of the kingdom as a junior, as a monitor. And he said, my brother is living in the forest and sleeping on the bare ground, eating the fruits, not the normal palatial food. So for 14 years, I will do that tapasya, that austerity, live in the forest, sleep on the bare ground, and eat this, live life like that of my brother. This is the sacrifice. Then it happened, Ram is there with his consort Sita, but Lakshman, who comes to help Ram as his shadow, so his wife was left back, but she also came. Sita knew that Lakshman, out of respect, will not go and meet, and out of grace, his wife Urmila will also not welcome Lakshman. She was sitting in the cottage of Sita. Lakshman tells, Sita calls Lakshman. He said, son, I want you to go to my cottage. There is a basket of flowers. Bring that basket, and that basket of the flowers is to be made garland. Lakshman is sprinting joyfully, goes to the cottage of Sita. There he sees his wife Urmila sitting down there. What you will do? You have seen your spouse after so long. Will your emotions not arise? Will the emotions not arise in any one of them? These are the lessons how an individual, Lakshman has gone for the service of Ram and Sita. Urmila says that Lakshman, do not be worried. I have not come here to distract you. I have come here. The composition is very beautiful. I have come to see how the naughty deer of my eternal garden is living here. How the naughty deer that was the deer like who is to sprint in my eternal garden, how is he मेरे मन के उपवन का हिरन, the deer, the naughty deer sprints in a very pleasant manner. How the deer of my eternal garden is sprinting in the forest. So do not be distracted. And then what Lakshman tells her? He tells her that Ram is God incarnate. Sita is the worthiest person to be his consort. Then you are younger sister of Sita. I am here in the forest to prove my worth when Sita introduces me as the husband of my younger sister, as the husband of her younger sister. Am I worthy of that? There was no emotions. The responsibility and duty was there. How a person should act to be a worthy son, worthy father, worthy king, brother, friend, enemy. It is the enemy we create, the animosity should not be there. The person is performing a role on the stage. He is acting as your enemy. It is only for that period of time he is acting as your enemy. But both are carrying the same spark. This understanding has to come in an individual for him to be true representative of God, oneness. God means oneness, the embodiment of oneness. Goes on like that when it comes to how these things descended, how the scriptures happened, how Holy Quran descended. I am not following the childlike stories. All these scriptures descend in a state of utter silence. Holy Prophet has the capability to decipher this silence. First, when there was a communion between him and the totality Allah, the silence was infused into him. He has the capability, just as your computer, I am speaking to you on my system. Your system is capable of deciphering my words. First, my system is carrying into digital format, converting analog into digital format. Like waves, it reaches to your system. Your system has capability to transform it into audible sound of analog for you to listen. So Holy Prophet was that instrument who has the capability to transform the silence that God has communed. This is Miraj. How it was communed to him and how he was able to codify it. How he was able to codify it and bring it for the humanity. Bhagavad Gita, there are 700 verses in the Bhagavad Gita, the normal book that you see around. The story when Bhagavad Gita was narrated by Krishna to Arjuna, the battlefield, the two armies have gathered on the battlefield facing one another, desirous to fight. Arjuna sees it, he gets flabbergasted, perplexed, confused. He asks Krishna to carry his chariot so that he can get a clear view of all those who are desirous to fight in this battle. Krishna carries. Arjuna is dejected. He puts down, that is Arjuna's grief. Unless this grief becomes part of your life, dejected from the battlefield of life, the journey cannot begin. The great state of confusion was there in Arjuna. Krishna explains. So if you take one verse to speak, it may take 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, proper intonation. 700 means 1400 minutes. How many hours is this? Did Krishna speak as you and I are speaking? At times, the master, the disciple sits down in the company of the master. What is tawajjuh? A silent communion to the master, to the disciple, and then the disciple has the capability to decipher that and codify that silence. This is how the master transfers his energy field, tawajjuh, nisbat, onto the disciple. What had happened? I was only 8 months of age, and I used to sleep with my grandfather, Sufi Brij Mohan Lal. So it was his instructions to my mother that every morning at 3 o'clock I should be removed from his bed when he goes into intense austerity, Marakba and other states. So one fateful morning my mother fell asleep and she forgot to pick me up. It is the whole plan of the existence in harmony with the Sheikh Brij Mohan Lal. I remained from 3 o'clock until 8 unconscious in a state of meditativeness or whatsoever you call, don't know anything. My grandfather, as usual, this is the way of the masters, he do not want anybody to know what mystery he is performing. So he got angry with my mother, saying that you are so careless that you forget to pick up the child and you fell asleep. This carelessness has caused him to become in that state. So he was continuing like that. My mother began to cry. Then there was an elderly person. He came to interfere. He said, "My dear brother, why are you getting angry with this girl? You wanted to give this child something, and this is your own doing, and you are blaming her." So that happened there. Then I came to live with my grandmother, and he said that the most time I spend with my grandmother will be better for her and for me also. So from the very beginning, I considered as my mother, real mother, and my mother as sister. So it happened. So when I was 10 or 11 years of age, I asked her one question first. What is my religion? So she told me, your religion is the same as that of God. So I asked her, this question did not answer. This answer did not respond my question. So I asked, then what is God's religion? She said, you ask too many questions. I never tell you that. You ask too many questions, you have to find out yourself. Then I discovered God is a subtle, a presence, formless. I have no religion, simply religiosity. It is the water, it attains the shape of the container where it is put. When you put in Islamic bowl, it becomes Allah. When you put in the Christian pot, it becomes Father. When you put him in Hindu, he becomes the Hindu God, Bhagwan. That is oneness. That is, everyone agrees with that oneness. Enlightenment gives that into you, infuses into that. Then one day I asked, so I was staying there. My job was to fix the place for the meditation in the morning, in the evening, all that. So I asked, I am doing everything. Whenever anybody has to be initiated, I am the one who is guiding, providing all the information and preparing, but nobody tells me anything to do. So she has the unique way, she never told the same time. When you ask the question, she will never answer them. When you have forgotten the question that you had asked a question, then suddenly she will come back. You were saying something that nobody tells you anything to do. Then, oh yeah, I asked you that question. Okay. So your grandfather has given you everything. It is in the codified form. So when it comes, when the time comes, it will reveal itself. Finished. So Krishna spoke, created meditatively, transformed Arjun, and when this word, this message was codified, after some time, another time I will explain on this here, the 5 layers of understanding. When a master speaks, there are 5 layers of it. One layer is the basic layer, is the layer of music. The other layer is that of the master-disciple communion. Nothing is asked, nothing is answered, and everything is spoken. Then the level of philosophy. Same thing applies. There is musical, Quran is the musical harmony at a level for one. It is a philosophy at another level. And for most of us, it is a philosophy, a way of living. So these are the different levels. Presently, it is not. Let me go into the other aspects of it. So then Veda Vyas codified it. It continued, there was less number of verses. Then it happened that after some time, the Adi Shankar in 3rd century AD, he made certain things simplified, so he added as an explanation of certain verses. Then many years after the war was over, one day Arjun asked, "My Lord, you had spoken of the message of Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield. I want you to repeat it again." He said, "Arjun, at that time I was in a different state. Now I cannot explain." I recall this very much. It was during the Victorian age in the city of England on the Barretts of Wimpole Street. In London there is a Wimpole Street. On that there was a family known as Barretts. Elizabeth, the father was dictator. He did no children. He had 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Henrietta. This is the play called Barretts of Wimpole Street. So Elizabeth was a poetess, but she had a deformity. She fell, so she was incapable, so she was bedridden, but she was poetess. And that time, it was the time of Robert Browning. He was a poet, but his poems are considered to be very difficult for people to understand. So one day, it happened that Elizabeth, being the poetess, was the only person in the house was allowed to meet the boyfriends, the male friends. That was the age when legs means legs. They should not be exposed. So even the legs of the chairs were covered. Legs of the dogs were covered because they were legs. That was the strict disciplinarian age, the Victorian age. So one day, Elizabeth has a maid called Wilson. So she is reading a poem of Robert Browning, Salt Yellow. The poem is very difficult. All petals, no petals. All petals, no petals. That's how the poem goes on. You cannot figure out the head and tail. So she is reading, she asks, "Wilson, do you understand the meaning of this?" He said, "Ma'am, these are all like a Latin and Greek. But Robert is coming this afternoon, you can ask him the meaning." So she is happy. She said, "Robert is coming this afternoon, I will ask him this question, the meaning of this poem." So she asked Robert, "What is the meaning of the poem? Can you explain this poem, Sword Yellow, that you have written?" Robert Browning, they were living on the first floor. So Robert takes the book, he reads it upside down, turn it all angles, just as when something is like a picture or you take a photograph of something and you are not able to figure out, so you enlarge or you expand, whatever you do, so that you can understand it. Robert Browning did it. Then he walked over to the window, looked down on the street, then turned towards Elizabeth. He said, "Elizabeth, when I wrote this poem, God and I knew the meaning. When I wrote this poem, or this poem happened, God and I knew the meaning. Now only God does. I don't know the meaning of this poem." This is the state of that. If anyone asks, "Holy Prophet, can you explain the message?" he will not be able to repeat it again. It is only done once. Krishna says, "I cannot." Then he tries to explain something that is known as Anugita, but Raman took the 42 verses of Bhagavad Gita. He said that is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and you can discard the entire Bhagavad Gita as garbage. Only 42 verses are significant. The others are for explanation. So this is how the enlightened one goes on. Now the second part comes in. Why there are so many religions? Why there are so many religions? This is very significant. What is religion? You know a word vehicle? What is the vehicle used for? Vehicle is needed to transport you from one place to another. Right? Vehicle is a means to transport you and your family from one place to another. How many brands of vehicles are there? Why there is need for why there is a need for Toyota? Why there is a need for BMW? Why there is a need of the Mercedes? Why there is a need for any other vehicle? Because Toyota is owned by another company, BMW by another company. Each company has to run their own business for profit. So they have their own brand. Germany has 3 famous brand: Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen. Japan, Toyota, Nissan, Suzuki, and whatnot. And then the other countries. Why is so many brands of vehicle? Not everyone can access BMW because of its quality. Not everyone can afford another vehicle. So different people can afford different types of vehicle. Then why there are so many models? Why there are so many models? If Hinduism is a brand of vehicle, then it has different models. Shaivite, Vaishnavite. If Islam is one vehicle, then why there are Shia, why there are Sunni, why there are Ahmadiyya, why there is different the Sufi paths, Naqshbandiya, Chishtiya, Qadariya, Sohrawardiya. Then in Naqshbandiya, Mujaddadiya, Mujaddadiya, Mazhariya. Those who stop at Mujaddadiya, so they only carrying the brand, the model of Naqshbandiya, Mujaddadiya. Those who came to the next model when came in Naqshbandiya, Mujaddadiya, Mazhariya. Why there is Naqshbandi Hakini? Why Naqshbandi this and that? These are the different models. So there is, each model carries the same responsibility, same way it transports you from that. Whatever is easily accessible by you. For me, all these models, all these brands are equally important, have a significance in this entire sequence of the automobile industry. All these are part of automobile industries. The Toyota, the Benz, the Mercedes, the BMW, whatsoever it is. These are the different brands, the Hinduism, the Christianity, the Islam. Why there are so many models of Christianity? Roman Catholic, Protestant, Catholics, then Christian Science Monitor, then Protestant, and so many other models. So everyone has to carry on their business. Why the Ahmadiyya developed in Punjab? Ghulam Ahmad, and he is considered as a prophet in Islam, in Ahmadiyya sect, and that's why the name Ahmadiyya came. And there are a certain number of Ahmadiyya followers, but they are not considered as a mainstream in Islam. So that is a different matter. But the point that I am trying to explain to you, all are evolved from one source. They are part of the automobile industry, the God's industry. For as used as a vehicle, whichever is convenient to you, follow that. If you have a BMW and I have a Toyota, I will not tell you to change it. You continue to take care of your BMW. You continue, when you are coming with me, I'll take you a ride into my vehicle, my model. You take me into your model of the vehicle. It all depends upon. This is the enlightenment sows the seed of harmony and oneness in an individual. We are all, there is a power within that knows beyond our knowings. We are not aliens nor as strangers joined. We are bound to each other by a causeless force. The air that flows into you, the blood that flows into you, the same blood, the same consciousness flows into me. But when it is manifested through the instrument of the mind, the different comes in. When I had spoken about the quantum, one aspect of that explains quantum entanglement, different aspects of the quantum, how this could be explained, used to explain the inner development in an individual, the immortality of the soul. So enlightenment is oneness with all that is, with existence, with you. Maybe many of you I have never met. Maybe many of you I will never meet. But yet still the message goes to all those, irrespective of whether you are ready to listen to me or not. The religions, why there are so many religions, why there are so many brands of it. See the oneness in all. Go to the very core of it. You will see it all happen. The Quran happened the same way as a communion, a silent communion between Allah and Holy Prophet. And it was the Holy Prophet who communed. When Japji Sahib happened, and the story goes on, Nanak was on the bank of river Bain. He was from the very beginning very strange in his behavior. It was a cold winter night. Cold winter night. Nanak was sitting on the bank of river Bain outside his village, along with his two disciples, Bala and Mardana. Bala and Mardana. One was a Muslim, another was a Hindu. All of a sudden, Nanak took off his clothes and entered the river. So Bala thought, what are you doing this? The river is cold, the water is cold, the night is dark. What are you doing? Nanak did not listen to anyone. He continued and he entered in the river. So they thought that he will take a dive and come out, but he will never find. But Nanak went deeper into the river and then he disappeared. Bala and Mardana started sprinting around the river. They said, where are you? Answer. I am calling you, I am not seeing you. But Nanak could not be found. They went, the village, wake up everyone. The flower has not blossomed, but the bud has its own beauty as well. So the entire village gathered. They tried to find out, searched the river, but they could not find Nanak. And so they thought that either he swept away with the current or some animal has eaten him up. They went disappointed, dejected, they returned to their village. 3 days after Nanak emerged from the river. Then Japji was his first message. Ek Onkar Satnam, Akal Purukh, Nirbhav Nirbair, Akal Murat, Ajuni Sambhang, Guru Prasad Jap. Adi Sach, Jugadi Sach, है भी सच, नानक होसी भी सच, चुपै चुप न हो वही जे लाई रहा ले उतार, भुखिया भुख न उतरी जे बन्ना पुरिया भार, सहस सियाण पालक होई त इक न चले नाल, किब सचियारा होइए, किब कूड़े टुट्टे पाल, हुकुम रजाई चलना नानक लिखिया नाल. The entire Sikh religion is condensed into 3 words, Ek Onkar Satnam. The rest is an explanation. So whenever anyone has to enter into communion with that which is, he has to disappear as ego. Nanak's dissolution in the river, he went into the solitude. Holy Prophet went on Mount Tur in solitude, away from the people. And the mirage happened. He attained. Nanak, mirage happened in a different way. He drowned in the river. Holy Prophet ascended to the Mount Tur, and there he came in the communion with that which is. Holy Prophet, when he decoded that message, the silence, it became Holy Quran. When Nanak decoded that silence, it became Japji Sahib. Ek Onkar Satnam. When Krishna, Vedavyas decoded the silence that happened, was commune between Krishna and Arjun, Bhagavad Gita emerged. When Valmiki entered in river Tamsa, every morning he will go to take a bath in the river Tamsa. So he is standing in the river and offering water to the sun god. Same time he see a pair of birds, cranes, making love. A hunter who is hiding between the bushes, and he takes the arrow and shoots the arrow. The male bird dies. The female bird, out of agony for the loss of her beloved, gives her life and dies also. Valmiki is filled with remorse. He curses. He takes the water in his hand and curses the hunter. And the beautiful verse that emerged out of him, Ma nishad pratishtham tvam agamah shashwati samah yat kraunch mithunadekam avadhi kama mohitam. Ma nishad, what is thy elegance, pratishtha, the respect? O hunter, why did you shoot an arrow at the innocent bird? He was filled with remorse. But after it happened, this sound, these words started echoing into the cosmos. He returned. He was very saddened. It is said the same time the cosmic news reporter. In Hinduism, Narad is the cosmic news reporter. And in Islam, it is Khizr alayhi salam. Wherever it is needed, he goes to help everybody. He's a news reporter, carries everybody's message to Allah, carries everybody's message to God. So these are the two international reporters. So he comes and he says that their Lord has chosen you to compose the story of. So this particular sutra is composed in 16 beats. The 32 beats, and this is known as Anushtup Rag. And many verses of Japji Sahib are composed in that meter. Anushtup is the meter in which there are 32 small syllables. Ma nishad pratishtham tvam, 8. Agama shashwati samaham, you count them 8. Yat kraunch mithunadekam avadhi kama mohitam, 16 on the top line and 16 the below line, 32 total. Number of Japji Sahib is unique in the sense that it does not follow a standard meter. Some of the verses you will find, because Nanak did not compose it in response to the question from the seekers. Any seeker asks a question, Nanak will tell Bala and Mardana, Chirde Vadde, start the music. As the music begins to happen, Nanak will sing. So they are composed in different meters depending on the question and the questionnaire, what need to be corrected in the questionnaire, what needs to be explained. Nanak spontaneously overflowed. That's why there is no one particular meter. But entire Bhagavad Gita, entire Valmiki Ramayana in Sanskrit is composed in that meter, Anushtabdi, 32 syllables. So that's how the oneness goes on. Enlightenment means this oneness. You have experienced this oneness. You are living this oneness. You are flowing this oneness, irrespective of who comes in your communion. Irrespective of who is the person. The person is the seed. The seed of lotus differs from the seed of rose. So you may be a lotus seed, you may be a mango seed, someone else may be a guava seed. You will blossom into a guava, next one will blossom into a grape. So the process of the development and growth of guava, mango, apple, banana are the same. The result is different. You may develop into a guava fruit, someone else may develop into an apple. So the master sees the potential. The gardener knows the potentiality, what this seed will blossom. When this seed will blossom, what will this seed come out to be? And keeping that in mind, he develops each and every student, murid, to blossom into his potentiality. The gardener does not make an apple into a grape. Apple is apple and grape is grape. Sometimes he may transplant. Mango, like rose. A white rose, you can graft it, a red into a purple, so it will have the two effects. So sometimes the master does it, so that you are the grafted. So you have a different quality of the beauty in you. You can manifest two different colors, the quality of the purple rose and the white rose. Have you seen a rose which have a kind of a orange color or dark yellow, and the two colors or three colors? So just as a gardener grafts it, he's an experienced in the art of grafting. Master is experienced, is expert in grafting and creating a new elegance out of this disciple. Makes you a totally different kind of a flower, different kind of a fruit. Mangoes are grafted. So the taste of the two mangoes are infused into one another. When it need arises, the master grafts the disciple so that he can be more cosmopolitan, realize, relate, explain, relate to people of every kind of understanding. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow,